Hi, and thanks for No, no. Hi, welcome to another quality carrot. No, no, no. Thanks for joining me. Let's have a look at the Haloview Handy 10. Okay, let's have a look at what we get in the box. There's a couple of user manuals, one for the rear view camera, one for the rear view mirror. The reason Haloview do this is they do a number of different bundles with these products in separate outfits. So you can get this rear view camera in the Handy 7 as well, and the rear view mirror in some different bundles as well. So they are good manuals. They are in proper English, so you won't see any weird Chinese phrases and things in there, so they are very useful to be able to use them. Next is the metal plates for mounting. We'll look at those separately in a second. There's a toolkit with a pry bar in there so that you can move the trim out of the way to get the cabling in there. A couple of fuses, and if you don't want to use the edge of the trim to push the cables away, there's some clips there that you can stick onto the outside of the trim and put the cable through. Two charging cables for the two items here. For the rear view camera, it's a round port, which is a 9-volt charger, and a completely different charger for the main rear view mirror, which is a mini USB as opposed to a micro. So just need to be aware that if you want to use the existing cabling and it's a micro, you'll have to get a separate adapter from eBay or Amazon. They're quite easily available and cheap. I'll actually put the link for one of these in the description below if you need to get one. And these are the antennas. So for the rear view camera, it'll say on it camera. I don't know if you can see that. And the other two are for monitor. The longer one is if you've got a longer rig, so if you've got a long car or a long caravan, you'd want to be using the longer antenna. The short ones if you're just using it on a car or a small motorhome, something like that. The actual rear view mirror itself, so you can see on the top here, it's got the antenna, just screws in normally. We've got a 32 gig SD card that comes with it. Now I was expecting this to just be some sort of cheap card that I'd throw away, but this is actually a Kingston. So they're using decent branded products in. Okay, it's also got a light sensor, so if you're traveling at night, it'll automatically dim so that it doesn't blind you, and vice versa during the day it'll make it nice and bright so you can see it. And the charging port. Now there's no battery in this, so it doesn't need to be permanently charged, which shouldn't be a problem in the car. And the power button on the bottom. Here is the front-facing camera, and it can slide out an angle if you've got a particularly large rear view mirror, or you're in a higher car or something that needs to angle the camera as desired. There's also a speaker on the back of here for the microphone that is in the rear view camera. So if you're reversing and you need to hear what's going on, whether you want to hear if you've run something over, or if your partner's at the back shouting directions, they don't need to shout, and you can hear it through the camera. The camera itself is a very, very nice piece of kit. It feels solid, it feels well built, it's a quality built product. You can see on the front there's a power button, 4 LEDs that give you the percentage of charge in the battery. The battery itself, by the way, lasts about 8 hours, and it can charge to full in 4 hours. So it's a good battery. We've got 6 LEDs here for infrared, so you can use this at night time. You can see when it's pitch black, and it's actually a Sony optic in here. The lenses are all Sony, so again, good products. And it's a Samsung battery in here as well, lithium battery. The magnets are at the top half and in the bottom, and these are like rubber surfaces, so if you did want to mount it direct to the back of a motorhome or to the back of your car or something, it's not going to scratch or cause any damage. And the metal plates that attach to it, they are very, very tactile, and you know, the magnetism between these is very strong. It's not going to fall off. Now, when I bought these, or when I was looking at them on the Haloview website, they were saying how these are actually new. They used to have a product that was square, twice the size of this, but I think it was half as thin. So I think they've had problems with it either falling off or not being too stable. So these are twice as thick, and they are, like I said, as you can see, they are very, very strong. And if you put it on all the way there, I've had to pry it off before with a tool. Now, the reason they do only come with one of these, they're that confident in it. I wasn't, so I bought a load. So I got two because I thought I'd put them on like this, put two, but it does end up being so strong. I think potentially that could pull the metal brackets actually off the back of the van. It's that strong. You can also, it does come with screws. You can screw it in to the surface as well as using the 3M stick. I think that's overkill personally, but it depends what your driving style is and what you're actually driving and how confident you are in the magnets. I'd definitely just stick the adhesive that's on the 3M pads, I think. That's the camera. Now, some technical specs about that. It is a IP67, so it is waterproof. You're not going to have any problems with it in the rain, storms, wind, etc. It's going to stay waterproof and keep operating in our dodgy weather in this country. It's got a 70-degree adjustable angle, so this, as you can see, will adjust depending on what angle you need it to be at. And you can see I'm having to use both thumbs here to move it. It's a very sure mechanism. It's not going to wobble about or change or move when you're in transit. It's a 720p camera, so that means it's 1280 by 720 pixels. So it's not as high resolution as the forward-facing camera. But then I think when you're reversing or looking at the back, it doesn't necessarily need to be like that. And when I do the review later, you'll see the sort of images that it produces anyway. It says it's a 300-meter line of sight communication distance between this and the rear view mirror. Now, 300 meters, 984 feet is a long way, so we'll see again during testing how that works out. It's also got a 120 degree viewing angle, so I think again that's plenty for reversing for what you need it for. That's what you get in the box. I'm going to try and show you installing the rear view monitor on the rear view mirror. There is a small problem with this, and I've noticed I've put the big antenna on, although it happened even if it had the small antenna. On the top here, where the power goes in, if you want to fold this out of the way neatly, you're not really going to be able to do that. It's either going to have to go the other way or slightly ajar, but we'll see what it looks like when we get it on. So I apologise for what this might look like. So I've not done this before, so we will see how easy or difficult it may be. So just undo the rubber straps from the bottom of both these clips so that it hangs over like that. I don't know whether you can see that. Difficult to film, so just pop these over and pull this out as well so that it's out of the way. One like that, and one. They are actually quite stretchy, those rubber bands, which is very handy. So let's have a look at that now. You can see how that fits on there with the rear view camera pointing out nicely. Okay, unfortunately that's about as much light as I'm going to get at the moment, but I'm not going to wire this in permanently because I'm not going to have this car for too much longer, so I'm just going to put this in temporarily. I should have plugged this in before I put it on the rear view. That's a good tip for you guys. Plug the power in first. Okay, power in. So the aerial does stick out a little bit. I don't think it's too much of a problem. I suppose it depends what it looks like where you are, but yeah, that's okay. Let's see if it powers up okay. Oh, I need to put the engine on, will always help. And we've got some power. Okay, so that's the, as you can see, the front facing camera. Gets a good angle there, and where it's got no signal here, it's because we haven't got the main camera on, which we have here. You basically just hold that in, push the button and hold it in, and then like a Night Rider, four lights come on there, and as you can see, you can see there that we are is actually recording now. You can see there's a recording light flashing. I'll show you some of the footage back in a minute, but you need to set the time and date right, obviously, for a dash cam. You want it to be accurate. You can actually change the view, so that's full rear view as you would have it normally, or half rear view, half front view. There you go, so you've got full front view. Okay, so I've taken the protective coating off just to show you what a really nice screen this is. It's super bright, as you can see. So that's the rear view camera on the left and the front camera on the right. You can't change that configuration. All you can change is whether the rear view camera is upside down or mirrored, basically. And you can just see there. Now I've not got the antenna in, however, it's that close, it doesn't really matter. But let's have a look at the different menu options that you can get. So at the moment across the top you can see the strength of comms to the rear view camera there, which is 4 bars. It's saying that's cam 1 and it's recording. It's fine, high def. Okay, so to get to the menu you swipe up from the bottom, and going from left to right it shows you the mirroring options for the rear view camera, and using that you can switch it upside down if you're mounting the camera upside down, and mirrored or normal view, depending on your preference. So if you like to look in the rear view mirror as if it is actually a mirror, or as if you were looking out the back window, then you've got those options. Cap is screen capture, so it just takes a picture of the screen. If you need to take a picture of somebody or something, then you can just press that. That's a record, on or off. It's on at the moment. If you just press that, it stops, says it's in standby. Next one is to pair. Once you've paired it, you never need to pair it again. It's quite clever. But the first time to pair the rear view camera with the monitor, then you'll use that pair button. And you just touch the screen to scroll between front or back on as full. If you touch on the right, it goes to that one full. Touch on the left, that one full. Touch it again and it goes back to the dual view. The next one is sound, whether you want the sound on or off. You might not want to record sound, or especially when you're driving along, you might not want to be hearing the road noise from behind. It's your preference. And the last one is the settings option. Lots of things in here. So the first one, picture, is the actual screen itself. So you can change the volume of what's coming out. So you can still record the volume, but just turn it down so you don't have to listen to it. The next one is LCD brightness, how bright this is. And you can actually set it, I'll show you the auto dimming on the next screen. Contrast, saturation. And if you scroll, you can see auto dim. So I've set it so that it uses the sensor on the top. And then you've got picture in picture. Next one across the top is record. So this is all your record settings. So which mode you're using, whether it's 1080p or 720, leave it in 1080, it's the highest quality. what quality inside that, whether it's super fine or, but I'd keep it at super fine. You just get better quality just in case you need to, somebody's registration doesn't quite show up properly or something. You're always best having it on the highest quality. Movie clip time, you can set this to either 5 or 10 minutes, and what that means is after each 5 or 10 minutes it will start a new clip, so that you don't have to download the entire contents and try and find a particular event or time in it. So I'd set it to the shortest, just so it's easier to find things, which is 5 minutes. And still image size, so how big are the photos that you take from it. There's only two, I think, 2 meg or 1.2 meg, so again, there's plenty of space in there, just leave it on the 2 meg. And if we scroll down, you've got the quality of the still image, again, super fine. Whether you're recording sound from camera 1 or camera 2, I think camera 1 is the reversing one at the back, so I'd always probably leave that on 1, or you can turn it off completely. And then the panel off, which is this, you can actually get it to turn off after 1 or 5 minutes. So if you're not interested in seeing it when you're driving along, you can always get it to just auto turn off, or for it to stay on all the time. So in play, you choose whether you want to look at recordings from camera 1 or camera 2. Now, I earlier when I had this in the car, I took the camera and walked through the house with it. I'd forgotten that the sound was turned off, so I'm not going to bother putting this back, but I actually walked through the house, through the garage, through the kitchen, and just as I stood out in the back garden, it went. So that was a good, I'd say 55 to 60 feet. I walked right to the back garden, which is probably about 100 feet, and then came back again. So you can see that as soon as I got to the back door again, it started. And you can see the infrared kicking in when it was a bit darker. So I've just put that back to normal speed. And this is a rear view camera, so you can see the quality is easily good enough to use. And back to settings again. And then you've got the next one from the bottom left is the park line. So if you want to look at the reversing lines, you can turn them on. How wide you want them, how high, etc. So you can tailor them to what you need. Format, so this is the SD card. You can set it to overwrite, so once it gets to the end, it starts overwriting the oldest ones at the beginning again, which is all you really need to do. Unless something has happened on the trip that you need to save, then you're probably best having a spare SD card just in case as well. Format the SD card. We won't do that, but you can set it to format so it's emptied again. And then you've got SD card info, so it tells you how much time you've got left if you're recording in full in the high def there. It says about 2 hours 44. Just normal high def, which is 720p, is 3 hours 39 minutes. And it tells you how many pictures you could have left, etc. Total space, how much is free. All useful stuff. And then last but not least is the settings, where you can set the clock, language, set it back to factory settings, and what firmware version it is. And that's it. Okay, now I've got a power bank here that I'm going to use so that I can go for a walk with this and see how far it is until the rear view camera packs up. So what we do is plug this in here, plug the other one into the power bank. Should get, there we go, it's powered on. Okay, so I'm just about to go for a walk. Got this here with me, monitor, so you can see it's all working, and just going to go for a walk and see how long it takes before it packs in. I'm sure it won't take long. It goes dark quick around here. I've been walking for about an hour. Should be giving up soon, I'd have thought. Crikey. I can't go any further. What's this? Hang on. It's still showing daylight on this. It's playing back a picture. This whole time I've not been, oh you. Anyway, if anyone is interested how far you can go with this, it's a long way. I went to the bottom of the field next to my house, pure line of sight, probably about 100 metres. I couldn't go any further and it was still perfect. Let's face it, that's not what you're buying this camera for anyway. As long as it'll work from the back of your caravan, job done. Okay, so what did I like about the Haloview Handy 10? The build quality on this thing is fantastic. It feels sturdy. It's built with quality components, with Samsung and Sony things inside it. So I think this, hopefully this is going to last a good long time. The features, it's jam-packed with stuff. It's a proper good dashcam. It's a good reversing camera, and it'll record stuff at the same time as well. So if you have an accident or you want to use it for blogging or whatever, job done. Also, you don't have to drill any holes in your caravan. It's wireless. Magnets will hold it onto the back, no problem at all, and the distance isn't a problem. So I think the other thing is this fits easily to the mirror, onto the rear view mirror. I was well impressed with these rubber straps at the back. Improvements, what do I think they could do better? Firstly, the front facing camera, as you can see, it sits proud of the whole thing, and it's slightly domed as well, so I keep having to put it on something when I put it down when it's not being used, because I know I'm going to damage the damn thing. I'd have liked to have seen some sort of a dust cap or lens protection, just a little cheap plastic cap that comes on it that will protect it when you're not using it. The other thing is the power socket. I would like to see that moved, the configuration on the top, so that this doesn't, it looks better when it's sat there than it does when it's sat that way. It's a cosmetic thing. I'd like to see the power socket move to the other side of the antenna if possible. It's a little thing. It's not the end of the world, obviously. The other thing that I'm not too keen on is the fact that there's no protection for the recordings. So if you've had an accident and you want to keep that recording, and you're going to carry on driving somewhere, it's not been a write-off or something, but you want to keep that, you can't keep it. There's no protection method. So if it starts rewriting from the beginning again, it's just going to overwrite it. So you need to carry a spare. Now it's software, so I'm sure Haloview can do something about that in the next firmware release or something. Give us some sort of protection for the file where there was an incident, or also a button that you can press to say save what's just happened, because I've just had an accident, save it. I know there's some dash cams that have that. Some of the other dedicated just front view ones, but I think those sort of things are quite essential. So next time Haloview, let's have that. One of the other things I didn't like was when you're driving along at night, and this is in infrared mode, any lights, for whether it be headlights, street lights, completely wash out. Now it's only when it's dark. When there's enough light and it's in colour, that doesn't happen. I don't know if that's just because it's a 720p or whether that just happens with infrared cameras at night time, but something that could look with doing improving on there really. The only other thing to be aware of is the fact that it's not available at the moment. It's sold out. Now I got mine just before Black Friday, and just after Black Friday it was sold out. So I assume it's the COVID and the lack of semiconductors and chips and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully it'll be back in again soon. Now when it was in stock, it was just short of $360, which is about £270. Now that's quite expensive, but the fact that this ticked all my boxes and there weren't any other things on the market that actually does exactly what this does. So for me, it was a bargain. Time will tell how long it lasts, but I'm very happy with this purchase. So I hope that was informative. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, please leave them below. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It's always good to get a bit of feedback from you guys to understand whether you enjoyed this or not. But in the meantime, thank you very much and keep caravanning.